Hey everybody, MBT here. Today's video is Infernoble, but much more important than that, we got a dog! Say hello, Sadie. Sadie, quick, what are your thoughts on Martial Metal Marcher Halka-Thibrax combos? Sadie, should we ban Link Cross? Please, Sadie, the people want to know, is access code too powerful of a payoff? Should Charles have more restrictions? Good afternoon, Jank enthusiasts. I'm MBT, and this is 10-minute testing. Ugh, fine, okay, I'll do the Infernoble video. It's been out long enough, the combos have been labbed deep enough, and I'm confident enough to finally showcase this behemoth. But be warned, I don't think this deck is all the way there yet, so please don't put me in a 2021 cringe compilation after Cody Angeloff figures out a one-card Charles FTK that becomes standard. Presenting Infernoble. Before we begin, if you're on the fence about subscribing, let me sweeten the pot for you. Click that little button below the video and I promise to ban the goth half of I Sold on September 1st. So here's the list, and wow, it kinda looks like Pack's list. Yeah, this is Pack's list, everyone. I'm not exactly a combo innovator. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. But first, this video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck is an online strategy site for our mutual favorite card game. It's got a deck builder, card database, and a wealth of strategy articles. It's also where I post the Quarantine Series deck breakdowns, so give it a look at www.ygoprodeck.com. Now let's get into Infernoble. Infernoble Knight are a sub-series of noble knights from the body of chivalric literature, Matter of France. Where the Knights of the Round Table are almost entirely hunks, we've finally gotten some twink representation among sword-wielding anime hotties. Like noble knights, the combos these red-headed rapscallions enable are too numerous to count and too complex to explain. But thankfully, we won't have to learn them. See, I don't know if you know this, but there are these two cards in the format, Link Cross and Halka-Thibrax, and together with Martial Metal Marcher and Auroradon they form a fun and unique synchro line. Wait, why are you booing? And why can I hear it? Okay, I get it. You want variation, you want innovation, and above all, you want a reason to play this over at Emancipator. I'm happy to report that unlike most videos on this channel lately, there actually is one. Infernoble's combo line ends on Charles, which is the most pushed synchro monster I can remember since, well, Borreload Savage Dragon. If an equip spell is attached while he's on the field, you can destroy a card on the field, and during the end phase you can equip an equip from your graveyard to him, followed by a fire monster from your deck. Now, it's a little unintuitive, but basically, alongside the quick effect equipping Roland, the battle and targeting protection Ogier and Olivier respectively, and the 2002 format staple Smoke Grenade of the Thief, this represents pops on your opponent's turn, protection from nearly everything, and frighteningly, Thoughtseize. Hand destruction is already horrifying in Yu-Gi-Oh!, and it gets much, much worse when it's targeted. So with that, let's get into the card by card. Firstly, our Infernobles, 3 Olivier, 2 Ogier, 2 Reynad, and an Astolfo. After that is the newly imported Chungus Supreme, God Phoenix Gearfried. Next are the starters you should all be familiar with by now, 3 copies of Neospace Connector and an Aqua Dolphin. This is followed by Fire Flint Lady, the world's greatest warrior extender, and some combo pieces in order of their appearance. Red Layer, Genba, Jet Synchron, and O-Lion. Bringing up the rear is Gamma and Driver. For spells, we're on 3 Heritage, 1 apiece of Midbreaker, Rhoda, Reborn, and our equips, 3 Durandal, 1 Blade, 1 Fossil, and a Smoke Grenade. For traps, we're on 3 Infip. In the extra, space is shockingly loose. We're on Charles, the very cuttable Trish, Borreload, Omega, Roland, Herald, Tatsunoko, Martial Metal Marcher, Access Code, Auroradon, 2 Isold, 2 Hulk, and a Link Cross. So with that, let's jump into the games. Our first match is up against Prankit, and I'll be completely honest with you, I do not want to see this Link one get released. Our opponent's going first. They're going to lead with a normal summoned copy of Lampsies, which will link summon a copy of Meow Meow. I'll activate Gamma, excited to end the turn, only to be met with an Ash Blossom. Okay, well, Gamma isn't once per turn, so I'll try again later, I suppose. They'll go into a Fancies and link summon a copy of Doodle-Doo, chain blocking the Doodle-Doo with the Fancies. I'll negate the Fancies, they'll respond with Haunted Mansion. We'll infip the Doodle-Doo to be met with a Pandemonium 6 deep on turn 1. Wow. Well, after all is said and done, they get a copy of Place to Hand and a very frightening trap into the graveyard, but we do still have the Gamma. They'll activate Dropsies, we'll activate Gamma. They'll activate the effect of the Doodle-Doo, which puts back the copy of Pandemonium and the Dropsies, but a 2-material Prankids fusion is way less frightening than a 3. For turn, we draw a copy of Living Fossil. We should be able to do this. We're going to lead with a copy of Neospace Connector. They're going to fire off this copy of Pandemonium now for a Weather Washer. We'll summon out a Dolphin. They'll activate the effect of Place and Dropsies to put it to 2,500, gain 1,000, and get a Lampsies. We'll link summon a copy of Icehold. She is going to get us a copy of Red Layer. We'll activate her effect, sending 2 to summon from deck a copy of Genba. From here, we're going to make Link Cross and summon 2 tokens to our side of the field. Our opponent will respond with their copy of Weather Washer. Those monsters can't be destroyed by battle, notably. We're going to go ahead and link summon a copy of Martial Metal Marcher. That's going to bring back the Genba. Next, we'll make a Tatsunoko, which we'll use with the Red Layer to make a Borreload Savage Dragon. We'll equip a copy of Icehold before going into Halqifibrax and getting a Jet Synchron from deck. We'll link summon a Mecha Phantom Beast Aurorodon, getting 3 tokens to our side of the field. Afterwards, we're going to, unsurprisingly, activate the effect of Mecha Phantom Beast Aurorodon to get an O-Lion from deck, enabling a summon of Roland, the triggered effect of O-Lion, the triggered effect of Roland, the effect of Phoenix Blade, and a Synchro Summon of Omega. Finally, we'll activate Jet Synchron in Graveyard and go into Charles. We'll activate Roland's effect to equip at instant speed, and then pop one of the 2 that can't be destroyed by battle. We'll also activate the effect of Omega while I'm thinking about it, and then we'll activate Living Fossil and fire Flint Lady to get ourselves a copy of Herald as well. Finally, we'll end on a copy of Phoenix Blade equipped to the Charles, so it, has more attack. We'll proceed to battle phase. Our opponent will activate Prankid's Plan, but thankfully we do have the negation live at this point. We'll get in for 13, and over the last remaining one, they're left with just a battle-immune copy of Fancies, and we have a God Phoenix for next turn. They draw Triple Tactical, they'll go into an Anima, we'll negate the effect of the Anima, they'll activate Triple Tactical Talents, we'll negate it with this Herald of the Arclight, and they will, unsurprisingly, concede. While Infernoble's end board is unquestionably strong, its lack of spell and trap negates outside of Borreload Savage Dragon tend to make it an easy target for decks who make it their business to go second and win with sweepers. Case in point, our opponent for Game 2 is playing Invoked Mech Knight Numeron, a sentence that I wish had not just come out of my mouth. We are going first. Our opponent will in standby activate Numeron Wall, so they don't have to pay attention to our turn. We'll go for an Ogier here to send a copy of Durandal to summon a copy of God Phoenix Gearfried, insulating the remainder of our plays and equipping it with an equip spell before we summon Icehold. We'll activate Icehold's effect in order to get a copy of Red Layer to hand before activating her second effect to summon a copy of Genba from deck. You should know the next step. We're going to go into a Link Cross, summoning 2 tokens to our side of the field, one of which will turn alongside the Genba into a Martial Metal Marcher, and the other of which will turn alongside the Genba into a Tatsunoko. Next, we'll go into a Borreload Savage Dragon, equipping it with an Icehold before making Halqifibrax and activating its effect for a Jet Synchron. Next up is Aurorodon. We'll activate its effect to summon 3 tokens to our side of the field, and its second effect to turn itself and one of those tokens into an O-Lion from deck. That's the right stat line for a Roland, so we'll go there now, triggering not only the effect of Roland, but also the effect of the O-Lion in Graveyard, and enabling a Synchro Summon of an Omega. We'll finally end on a copy of Jet Synchron, a Charles, Ogier's Graveyard effect. I guess we'll resolve the Omega as well, and then pop this Smoke Grenade of the Thief in the end phase, taking a card out of our opponent's grip. We'll pass it back to them and wish them good luck. Unfortunately, they get it. They'll go for Numeron Network, and then they've drawn another must-answer spell trap. We are not playing an out for Mystic Mine. Well, by bluffing that we are playing one, we can potentially trick our opponent into committing to a board where they can clean what we have but can't necessarily do lethal to us, and then we can kill them on the crackback. It's a bit of a long shot, but it's realistically the only hope we have here. We'll pass it back to them once again. They draw a red moon and decide to commit. They'll go for a Neos Fusion, unsurprisingly for a Rainbow Neos. They'll activate its effect, and we have nothing to say about it. Down goes our entire board. They'll activate Magical Meltdown, but they can't go for an Invoked Fusion. They are under Neos Fusion. They'll get in for 5,500, and this is our chance. The problem is, we're working with a very small extra deck. Let's see what we can make happen. We're going to lead with a copy of Phoenix Blade in Graveyard. We're going to normal summon a Neospace Connector to get a copy of Aqua Dolphin. We'll activate its effect and unfortunately come up short. No big deal. We'll go into an Icehold here and add a GPG to hand. Now, there's a possibility we shouldn't have done that and could have set up a GPG on the field over the course of this turn, but I'm not sure if it would have ended up mattering. We'll activate Olivier's effect to summon itself and go into a Halqifibrax, using it to get a copy of, Gamma. We're that deep on tuners out of our deck before making an access code Talker for 4,300. We'll activate its effect twice to get over the Rainbow Neos, because of course they have the Neos Fusion in Graveyard, and then we'll equip everything we can to this copy of Icehold so we don't I don't know, die to a Mech Knight. We'll equip it with a copy of Phoenix Blade and get in. We clear the board, but we don't do lethal, and we might just be dead on the crackback. Even if we had the GPG, we've got no response to a hard invocation. They're firstly gonna go for a Red Moon BM before activating invocation to get this copy of A-Lister back, and then doming us in the damage step for lethal. So it's time for game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent is playing Synchron Dogmatica Eldritch, and unfortunately for them, they have not opened any hand traps. We are going first. We're going to lead with a copy of Heritage of the Chalice, which is just a fantastic card, before activating Astolfo and this copy of Reynad. It's not pretty, but it does get the job done. We'll go into a copy of Isold, adding a red layer to hand, and then we'll activate Isold's effect. You can just skip this portion in the video, my feelings won't be hurt. We'll go into a copy of Linkross, summoning 2 tokens to our side of the field, and one of those tokens alongside the Genba is going to, unsurprisingly, turn into a Martial Metal Marcher and bring said Genba back. Next we'll go into a Tatsunokro, and a copy of Borreload Savage Dragon, equipping the Isold from the graveyard, and spelling the end of the game for our opponent. We'll go to a Halqifibrax next, and a copy of Auroradon, summoning 3 tokens to our side of the field. We'll activate Auroradon's effect, popping itself and one of said tokens, so we can get ourselves a copy of O-Lion from deck. Next, we're going to Synchro Summon a copy of Roland and activate its effect, activating the effect in sequence of the O-Lion in graveyard, before going into an Omega and activating Jet Synchron's graveyard effect to Synchro Summon a copy of Charles. We'll get this Divine Sword Phoenix Blade back into hand, and then equip it to said copy of Charles, before activating God Phoenix Gearfried, activating Astolfo, and proceeding to end step. We'll activate Charles's effect, equipping a Smoke Grenade of the Thief, and then using it to pop our opponent's copy of O-Lion. We'll negate its token effect as well, for good measure. We'll pass it back to our opponent, who now has pretty much no opportunity to combo whatsoever. They draw a copy of Ecclesia, that's pretty good. They'll go from Jet Synchron into a copy of Linkuriboh. We'll negate the graveyard effect, of course. They'll go for a tuning, that's fine, enjoy your third copy. They'll walk over our token, and then in main phase 2, get their Ecclesia negated. They'll set 1 card and proceed to end step. At end of main, I will equip this copy of Roland, which will destroy the set card via Charles's effect, allowing them to get a trap, but that's it. Once again, at end step, we'll activate the effect of Charles, and we'll equip Smoke Grenade of the Thief, even though it doesn't really do anything. We'll activate Ogier here, we'll summon this copy of Reynad, and our opponent elects to go to game 2. So it's time for game 2, and while our opponent's hand isn't fantastic, it's a sight better than the last one. They're going to lead with a copy of Disciple of the Nadir, sending a Titanclad to the graveyard, rest in peace, Bastard Dragon, before normal summoning a copy of Ecclesia, getting a Dragma Punishment, setting 2, and resolving the effect of Titanclad for another Ecclesia. This telegraphs the Fleur-de-Lis, and I don't know how we're going to do this. We've shockingly not really drawn a starter. We're going to normal summon a copy of Neospace Connector, which is met with an Ash Blossom, okay. From here we can activate Durandal on our copy of Neospace Connector, and activate its effect to get a copy of Reynad to hand. We'll activate Olivier, summoning that. We'll go into a copy of Isold, which shockingly resolves. Next, we're going to activate the effect of Isold for 3. That's going to summon, well, nothing from deck, because Fleur-de-Lis is coming down. Okay, we'll fire off the Monster Reborn to bring back this copy of Olivier, and be met with a copy of Punishment. That is... yeah, that's going to be the end of the game. We'll pass back to our opponent, who will go for a copy of Scarlet Sanguine at the end of the turn, and draw for turn a copy of Driver. Unfortunate. They'll activate Scarlet Sanguine, set a card, set a second copy of Scarlet Sanguine, pop it with their Eldritch, and oh my god, how disrespectful! We're really going to lose to a Driver attack? Ugh. Alright, let's go to game 3. So it's time for that all-important game 3, and oh god. Alright, well maybe we could... no... yeah, there's nothing we can accomplish with this hand. We're just going to have to set a copy of Infinite Impermanence and hope for the best. Please don't kill me! Our opponent's going to activate Cursed Eldland, then pay 800 life points to add an Eldritch to hand. That Eldritch will be sent with a spell and trap card to the graveyard to destroy our Infip, Gone But Not Forgotten. They'll activate Eldritch's effect, summoning it to their side of the field before activating the graveyard effect of Cursed Eldland and firing off a Disciples. They'll send a copy of Titanclad. Okay, well, Ecclesia is a pretty good card to Gamma. We'll go ahead and do that. We're probably not dead here because they're in defense position. They'll go for a Scarlet Sanguine for a Conquistador, and then at end step they'll resolve Titanclad so that Ecclesia is summoned, telegraphing the Fleur-de-Lis. We're going to have to play through a Negate and a Destruction, and that's a tall order for a hand that has nothing going for it. Oh, well... okay, maybe we can do this if we're very clever. We're going to go into an Aqua Dolphin, then activate its effect, setting the Living Fossil. We're then going to special God Phoenix Gearfried, then special the Reynad, putting the Living Fossil back into the hand. On open game state, we'll go into a Herald of the Arclight. Now when our opponent Conquistadors, we can negate it. We'll fire off the Living Fossil, and now our GPG is live. We'll go to battle phase and attack over this copy of Ecclesia, equipping the Eldritch, and then in main phase 2, going into an Isold, so when they go for the Gamma we know they have, because of the Aqua Dolphin, we can negate with God Phoenix Gearfried. This is the combo! They're going to go for a copy of Scarlet Sanguine to get a copy of Eldritch to their side of the field, but it's long too late for that. We'll fire off a copy of Linkross, getting 2 tokens to our side of the field alongside the Genba that we summoned off of this copy of Isold, so we can go into a Martial Metal Marcher. That'll bring back the Genba and allow us to synchro summon a copy of Tatsunoko. With the red layer in hand, we can make a Borreload Savage Dragon. We'll equip the Isold that just went to the graveyard, and then summon a copy of Halqifibrax, getting a Jet Synchron from deck, and going into Mecha Phantom-Beast Auroradon. We'll get 3 tokens to our side of the field, and activate Auroradon's effect to summon a copy of O-Lion from deck. From here, you probably know the line. We'll go into a copy of Roland and trigger the graveyard effect of O-Line in the same chain, and then afterwards we will synchro summon a copy of Omega. We don't have a card in hand, but that's easily remedied with Phoenix Blade. We'll get back this copy of Jet Synchron and make a Charles. We'll activate Omega's effect last of all before adding the Phoenix Blade back to hand, so our GPG is on without having to lose the attack boost on the Borreload. At end step, we will of course destroy this copy of Smoke Grenade, and we can take that Ecclesia just fine, adding a GPG for next turn. Our opponent draws an Infip, they'll activate Scarlet Sanguine and activate Fleur-de-Lis, even though it's not going to negate. They'll set a copy of Conquistador and proceed to the battle phase after we negate, nice, the effect of Eldritch in the graveyard. Now, we can very much lose this God Phoenix Gearfried. We have tons of negates. They're going to go for Conquistador, we'll negate with Borreload, and then at end step we'll activate the effect of Charles in order to equip a copy of Durandal and pop that set card. For turn we draw, well, it doesn't really matter from this position. We'll activate the effect of Divine Sword Phoenix Blade and then equip it so we can activate the effect of Charles and destroy our opponent's last remaining monster, summoning the God Phoenix Gearfried from our hand and getting in for well over lethal. So we're back with the deck, and woof. All I can say is I am not excited to play against this one. Let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1. Isold is just Halqifibrax that draws you a card. I'm actually pretty embarrassed it took us this long to find it out. You can do literally the exact same combos, except you haven't used Halq yet, so you get to end on more negates. Christ. 2, it's another deck in the Halcross family that sets up powerful end boards, but it ends on boards that are just a little bit different than people are expecting. Charles resists almost all removal and gets out of hand immediately, and ripping cards from the grip is unmatched. And 3, it plays extremely well through interruption. Something like a GPG on a simplified board state is unreal strong. And the cons. 1. Decks that aim to blind second are packing more heat than this can handle. Most of the good going second options are sweepers, spells, and traps, and only Borrelo deals with those. A top decked evenly, for example, can easily win the game. 2, a ton of the power in this deck is concentrated in exactly Charles. Adamancipator's strength lies in a diversity of threats. The strong cards in this deck are a known quantity. Having a target on your head is never where you want to be, even if you have all the protection in the world. And 3, as of yesterday, this build is outdated. Shove a Verte and a Dragoon in there, why don't you? All in all, this is an extremely powerful deck with a unique form of interaction in Smoke Grenade and an unparalleled ability to ride Charles to the finish line. I'm not sure it's stronger than all the top dogs from Secret Slayers and their Dragonic friend, but it's certainly up there. So that's that. As always, thanks to my patrons, Meepmoto27, Dominic Ernst, Harrison Karp, Alex Perea, Blue Boy, Candyman, Crispy, Dimsum05, Innercrest, King Magic Ruler, Meteor Mirage, Mike Carlotti, Rose Lapine, Seeker, Space Dandy 1993, Sir Tachyon, Stevie Blunder, Tyler Slacks, Tyrese Biggums IV, Adam Trevino, Adrian Bra, Amid Elefandi, Algis Marcin Kavicius, Andrew Benson, Andrew Horseman Linderman, Angry Bread, Apex Systems, Billy Williams, Blake Root, Candide, Chad Borch, GB Gohan, Chorps Away, CJ Alex, Connor Kidd, Dan the Man Hoban, Darcy Taves, Devin Dees, Dylan Conley, Donnie Fillerup, Duncoro, Distrin, Emperor Stove, Ernesto Ibarra, Fighting Fangwong, FUTR, Gamer Games, Gavin Charlikowski, Gustavo Secon, Isaac Jackson, Jaden Ya, Jared Lorman, Jason Leonard, Jeff Leonard, Geldu Rado, Jose Luis Cortez, Kybacorp Shill, Corey Hess, Kurakaze, Lavender Lemonade, Lawrence, Lucas Geartis, Lucky Number 5, Lucas Arizo Hansen, Meadow Edits, Meds for Feds, Mezzo Emrys, Michael Oskavar, Kamiyuna Arashi, Moira Brownwolf, Nick Extreme 99, Nix Dolores, Pro FP2, Pro Yugidad, Samsoon, Second, Sophie Forster, Standards Objective, Swag Kage, Tim Holloway, Yuri's Best, Zach Janchowski, Zach McKee, Blah, Dive Missile, Josh, Picnic Blasted, This Machine 237, DJ Steakhouse, and Yukie. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing, and if you want to be part of the process, follow me on Twitch as well. See you next time.